It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see a nigga on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight. Very excited to be back here with you tonight on Thursday. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Lots to get into. Big show. We actually have a pretty slow news day. Slow day. Bored. This is the worst month of the year. I hate January. Freezing cold, there's no content, no news, nothing's going on. It's fine. Our featured story, we're talking all about Don Lemon. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Don Lemon and the left-wing pieces of trash in Minneapolis invaded a church over the weekend where apparently one of the members of the church is an ICE field director. And so a group of left-wing protesters broke into the church, shut down the service, terrorized the people inside. And this is a violation of federal law. You actually do not have a First Amendment protected right to barge into a church and shut down a religious service. And it only makes common sense. If that were the case, it would be all-out religious war constantly. You wouldn't be able to have a church or anything. You wouldn't be able to have any kind of religious service for any religion because everybody would be protesting everybody else. And this happened over the weekend. The federal government has been outspoken and said that they are looking into federal charges for the protesters that did this. Among them is Don Lemon, the former host from CNN. He was a part of the group. He had prior knowledge of this operation. He was in attendance. He was a part of the group that broke inside. Well, the DOJ apparently was seeking charges against Don Lemon, but the judge refused to sign off. No charges. No charges. So they burst in, they shut down the church. It is a clear and unambiguous violation of the Ku Klux Klan law, of the FACE Act. It is a clear violation of federal law. He will not be charged at all. And I talked about this with Tim Pool on Monday. I went on Timcast Live with their crew, and we discussed this, and some of them are more pro-Trump than me. Some of them feel the same way, but I remember the conversation. Some of them said, oh, he's definitely going to face charges. They're definitely going to throw the book at him. There's a really good chance they're going to charge him. I said, they will do nothing. Nothing will happen. Because that's what this administration does. Nothing. It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't punish its enemies. It does not reward its constituents. This administration does nothing. And there is no accountability, no consequences for these people at all. Renee Good was a fluke. So we'll talk about it. That'll be our featured story. We're also going to talk tonight about the deal by the United States to acquire TikTok. And the deal has been finalized. Now the U.S. business, the U.S. side of the TikTok business, will be owned by a newly created private entity, which will be owned by a number of different investors, among them TikTok's original investors. ByteDance will have a stake in it. Oracle will have a stake. A bank from the Gulf will have a stake in it. And we'll talk about the deal, but I think you already know, we've been talking about it for the past couple of years. It's pretty clear what has happened, and it is a coup. It is an institutional coup to install American pro-Israel forces inside one of the world's largest social platforms. And that is really how you have to interpret events in society since October 7th, because it is happening everywhere. It happened in the White House. It happened at Harvard. It happened at TikTok. It's currently happening at CBS News, Paramount Skydance. They want it to happen to Warner Brothers. All of society is undergoing a pro-Israel coup in the wake of this attack, and TikTok is no different. So we'll talk about the structure of the New Deal. Should be a pretty good show. Like I said, though, it's kind of a slow day. I mean, what is even happening in the world? Like nothing. I go on vacation for 2 weeks. Everything happens. I come back. Nothing happens. I'm away for 2 weeks. We invade Venezuela. We're invading Greenland. We're bombing Iran. Some protester gets shot in the face. I come back. Nothing. A whole lot of nothing ever happens. Time for your daily. Nothing ever happens. A heaping helping of nothing. It's very frustrating. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the show. Check out our merch store, Fuentes.store. We have our America First hats. We also have our USA quarter zip. We have our brand new, custom, high quality USA quarter zip. It has a big USA logo on the front and an American flag patch on the side. This is great. Just in time for spring, you know, when the weather starts to warm up a little bit. Perfect for the spring. Throw this on and let everybody know you're an American patriot. Let everybody know that you're a USA patriot. Check it out. This is a great, I'm told that a lot of people love this style. It's very hot right now, very trendy. So check it out. That's Fuentes.store. Also, remember to check out our subscription website, americafirst.plus, $15 a month. You get access to the entire archive as well as MP3 format for every show, speech, debate, live stream, everything I've ever done. $100 a month to get access to the group chat where I'm in there hanging out. With that, we're going to dive into the show. What else is happening? Continued fallout from the Clubacost. Clubacost day 6. And I went into this a little bit the other night. And you know what really bothers me? I guess it doesn't bother me, but it's really irritating. I'm going to pretend to not be bothered at all. I'm not bothered. It's just irritating. But you know what I've been seeing ever since this incident at the club over the weekend? It's this genre of outrage. I've been on Instagram and I see there are all these really wholesome Chungus Christian influencers, and they all have something to say. They all are so pressed, all on the soapbox. They're all up in arms. I see this on Instagram. I see it on TikTok. I see it on X. It's all these, like I said, wholesome Chungus, family content, Protestant influencers, and they all have the picture of us in the club up on the screen. It's a bunch of them. I'm not singling anybody out. It's a bunch of these guys, and they're all chuds. They're all totally stupid NPCs. They're married, which is the end of the male life cycle. Okay, they are dead. Dead as men. Yes, dear. Yes, honey. Yes, dear. Yes, honey. No, a real man doesn't do that. A real man puts his wife first. A real man buys shit for his wife, exists to buy crap for his wife. Yes, honey. So I see all these influencers, and ever since the Clubacost, they put up the picture of all of us in the club, and they're giving their little sermon, telling everybody, I don't know why y'all follow these influencers. Do not worship these influencers with their bone smashing and their looks maxing and their clout chasing. Don't worship that, y'all. All y'all need. And it's like, hey, man, listen, pal. I don't come into your rock and roll Jesus Protestant rock concert and tell you how to live your life. Shut the fuck up. And you know what the grand irony is in all of it? Nobody's asking you to watch the content, okay? You don't like it? Don't watch it. You don't like it? Turn it off. It's on Kick. Most people don't even know how to find that. You don't like it? Put the phone down. But all these people, they give these big speeches and they say, you know, these influencers, all they're out is trying to get your attention. Stop paying attention to them. Stop talking about them. Stop looking at them. Hey, man, what are you doing? You're doing the same exact thing. You are giving us all the attention. We're all friends. I like all these guys. I like Clav. I like Sneako. I like the Tates. I like Fresh and Fit. I've known a lot of these guys for years. I'm in town. We go to the club. We had a big laugh. It's really not that deep. Everybody's got something to say. It's a group of guys. We went out. We're live streamers. Naturally, we live stream it. You don't like it? Don't watch it. You don't like it? Turn it off. It's a group of guys. We're having fun. People say it's silly. It's stupid. It is. We're having fun. And then you get all these wholesome chungus moral police. You get the religious police, stuffy carpet munchers, get up on Instagram, pulling up their pants up to their chest. Well, listen here, folks. Stop paying attention to these influencers. Hey, man, who's giving us attention? And by the way, you're doing the same exact thing. You are clip farming. You are doing the same thing. I hate that. At least what we are doing is honest. There's no pretense. We're not holier than thou. We're not haughty. We are what we are, whatever our flaws, whatever our shortcomings, our moral failures. And we go out and have fun, and it's just all smiles and cameras panning around. We're just dancing, drinking a little Red Bull. It's these other people, then they're in their living room. They're in their cream-colored living room with their wife standing off to the side, arms folded, hip out, with the cue cards. And you get all these Protestants with their big cross necklaces and the snapback. Y'all need to stop worshiping these influencers. Stop giving them attention. You're giving us attention. And you're clip farming us. You are reacting to it because everyone is talking about it, and that is going to get you more views. Your low IQ, inane, asinine sermons, your feel-good, prosperity gospel bullshit gets 3,000 views. You talk about all of the clout chasers, and you get 200,000 views, and everyone knows it. And everyone knows it, so let's just stop. You make 5 sermons every day saying, hey, y'all, try being kind. Hey, y'all, try being a good person. Yeah, nobody cares. Oh, but now you're going to give a moral lecture. Now you're going to get on your moral high ground and finger wag. Men shouldn't go to the club and have fun. Men should be at home washing the dishes so their wife can watch Netflix. 200,000 views. So true. So true. I can't stand it. And what it comes down to is these people were not invited. These people have no emotion. They are not cool. They are not interesting. They are not smart. They're not funny. You're a stiff. You are an unremarkable stiff. I see like Brylan Hollyhan put out a video. And the script was literally written by ChatGPT. Brylan Hollyhan put out his reaction today. Everybody wanted to know, what is the Fox News dweebs take on the Tates going to the club yelling Heil Hitler? And he does this ChatGPT-ass script saying, hey, y'all, let's grow up and mature. Y'all are worried about body counts and clicks. Y'all need to worry about being mature. Shut the fuck up. Nobody asked you. What are you, 19? What are you, 13? Grow up. I can't stand that. I've been seeing half the content has been like, oh, it's aura. Oh, this is the craziest blunt rotation ever. Oh, that's crazy. I can't believe Clav assembled the Avengers. And then I really have been seeing a lot of it on my timeline. Some people I've seen before, some people I've never seen before, but it's all the same genre. It's and you know, they're always coming up with a new vocabulary. Me, I'm Catholic, okay? I'm Catholic, I'm Christian. Protestants are always coming up with these new vocabulary words. It's always getting more and more granular or something. So they'll say, I'm a Bible-based Christ follower, kingdom advancer. It's like, okay, so what does that mean? Are you a Baptist? Like, in English, please. Well, I'm a Bible-based, Christ-following kingdom advancer. We're expanding. Okay, yeah. Well, so what denomination is that? Protestant. Got it. Thank you. You say, what denomination are you? They're like, I don't like believing denominations. So you get one of these types of guys in the dry fit t-shirt, the big necklace, the hat, wife off to the side. You're totally mid-wife off to the side, hands on the hips. Good job, honey. You really stuck it to him. Gosh, I can't stand that. Anyway, so I just want to throw, like I said, it's a slow day, so I'm throwing that out there. I don't even know these people's names, but I see them on Instagram, pointing the finger. Hey, man, you guys need to stop having fun. A bunch of guys went to and what's funny about it, too, is we went to the club. I don't even really think I saw too much degenerate behavior, honestly. We went for like an hour. Nobody got drunk. Nobody was exposed or doing anything really sexual. We really went, aura-farmed, and left. And people are, oh my gosh, a group of guys went to the club and they played a song. That's not mature. That's not what we need. That's not Christian. Oh my gosh. Lighten up. That's why I'm really being pushed back into edgelording. And I'll tell you why. I've seen a lot of people, like I talk about the Epstein stuff. And, the other night I said I want to marry an OnlyFans girl. I really feel compelled to antagonize these people because our side has become it's become such a drag. I said this last year too. It really feels like our side has become a total drag. Like you cannot do anything anymore. Anything. You cannot have a different opinion. You cannot express a contrary thought. You can't make a joke without all these schizophrenic Gen Xers saying, oh, wow, you're a hypocrite. Oh, wow, you took the paycheck. Oh, you're a clone. People said I'm a clone. I saw somebody say that because I came back from my vacation with a beard, they said I'm a clone. I'm a body double. That's how bad it's gotten. You express a contrary opinion. You say, I don't know. I like the idea that America kidnapped a dictator. And people go, he's a clone. He's a clone. It's a body double. It feels very restrictive. I feel suffocated lately by my own side. And when that happens, I just feel the need to just say, I feel the need to buck that, have to be able to think freely. The chuds are suffocating us. The right wing has become more popular. And as it has become massively adopted, now that you see 4chan memes and memes from right-wing Twitter from 10 years ago, now you see them in common parlance. The mass adoption of this stuff has made it normie chud central, and now it's just suffocating. So you get this kind of crap. And anyway, so that's just some thoughts on the current situation, the current zeitgeist. I look at all this stuff and I'm like, okay, so what are we supposed to do? Everybody wants a show where every opinion is completely predictable. All these right-wing chuds, they want a show where everything is totally predictable. You can predict everything I'm going to say. I'm here to reinforce your previously held convictions. I'm here to reinforce all of our prejudices, reinforce all of our, conventional ways of thinking. Like, example, today, this is really bad. Now, this is kind of a different subject. So there is this new thing going around. There's a prompt on Grok, the XAI. There's a prompt on Grok where you put in a certain, I don't know what the script is, but you put in this prompt and apparently Grok will tell you how censored you are. Have you seen this? People are putting in this pre-made prompt with their username and Grok is going to tell you how censored you are. It's going to give you a readout of this is how Twitter is censoring you. You're 99% censored. This is how your reach is being suppressed. These are the different ways in which Twitter is suppressing your content. Have you seen this? That is fake. That is fake. I don't know who needs to hear this, but That is not how an LLM works, okay? An LLM, Grok XAI, does not have access to the Twitter backend. And if you actually read these reports, do you know what some of them say? Some of them say that your JQ index is 85%. Your JQ index? Some of them say your noticing index is 55. Your noticing index? Do you know how a large language model works? Do you know how Grok works? Do you really believe that on the back end of the Twitter website, they are scoring you based on how red-pilled you are on the Jewish question? Stu Peters has a 75% on the JQ index. Jake Shields has a 55% on the JQ. But I don't even think they read it. I don't even think they're reading it. And I see this on Twitter. Everybody's posting this. And all of these anonymous posters with check marks, what is even that? All of these slop accounts are all posting it and reposting it. Screw this. I can't believe this. The more censorship. Wow, I guess Elon's a hypocrite. That's not real. That's called a hallucination. That's called an AI hallucination, and it happens all the time. And if you press Grok, it will say, I'm simulating what this would look like. It's not real. But everyone is posting that because no one cares about the truth. No one's even reading the stuff. No one cares if it's real or not. No one's doing their due diligence. It's all just about churning out slop that reinforces our worldview and farms engagement. Every day, people are looking for crap to throw up on the timeline to get their 10,000 likes, to get their 1 million impressions. And so they say, how am I going to complain about this today? How am I going to, and it's like a reinforcement thing. It's like a machine learning thing. If you are getting positive reinforcement from posting the same kind of content every day, and you're getting the numbers and you're getting the growth, it is literally training your brain. And every day you are retreading that neural pathway and saying, okay, I'm going to throw up the same tweet and the same tweet and the same tweet every single day. Oh, this thing, am I going to read through it? Am I going to take the time to verify if it's real? Do I even know how an LLM works? No, that doesn't matter. It looks good. Let's ship it. And then the other thing I saw today, because this is part of a pattern. So remember yesterday I said I support the U.S. acquisition of Greenland? I said, we talk about Iran on the show. That's very clearly a war for Israel. We talk about Venezuela. That's a little more ambiguous. You can make the argument, but I don't think it's convincing. I said, how are they going to try to make Greenland about Israel? Because Greenland isn't even a country. And they're not pro-Palestine. I said, so how are they going to make Greenland about Israel? Like what? Sure enough, what do I see on the timeline? They found a clip of Netanyahu. Nobody knows the context. Nobody knows where it's from. But Netanyahu literally said Greenland. He said, there's this map and we're going to do something with Greenland. Ha, ha, ha. It looks like he's making a joke, but you can't even tell because it's a 10-second clip from an event that no one even knows where it is. It's from like 10 years ago. And I see all the usual suspects are saying, there it is. And there you have it. There you have what? He said the word Greenland. So, okay, so yeah, I guess now that's part of the whole conspiracy too. Do we know the context? No. Do we know what he's even saying in the sentence? No, it's a 5-second clip. But he said the word. I guess that's good enough. Throw that in there too. Just keep throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. It does not matter. Who cares if it's true? Who cares what he meant? Who cares if there's any evidence? Hey, just throw it at the wall. Let's just keep reinforcing and reaffirming what we think is true about everything. Every question has the same answer. Let's just keep pressing the button, input-output machine. And it's very discouraging. And me as somebody that is interested in ideas, and me that's somebody that's interested, I'm trying to understand reality It's very disheartening to see that. And I know other people feel similarly. I've been saying this for a few weeks. But anyway, so we've reached sort of like a frustrating part in the adoption curve of our ideas. And I wondered throughout last year, what does the world look like? What does the conversation look like in a world where I'm mainstream? Because it's such an uphill battle for so long. We're swimming upstream, encountering so much resistance, fighting so hard. And so you say, what happens the day after? After I am mainstream, a household name, after everyone is at least open-minded about this issue, or even maybe leaning in my direction, what does that look like? How do you adapt to that new environment, and what are the new challenges? And I think this is sort of it, which is how do you refine it and really turn it into a governing ideology? Because it does have to graduate. We were in a position for so long where we were looking for exposure, mass adoption, get the word out by any means necessary. Just get the word out. Just make as many appeals, as many arguments, generate the narrative, put some stuff out there. Just try to get it open. Try to crack it open. Well, now it's wide open now, and I've been saying it all year. I think now it's time to refine and graduate, and we really need sound arguments, fact-based, sourced. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be a solid foundation to build the worldview, and then that's the basis for the political movement. But I know now it's just sort of like crabs in a barrel. Everybody's trying to chase the engagement farming. There's really no core ideology. There's no real movement. People say it's a movement, but people flip on each other over nothing all the time. So anyway, just some thoughts on how things are progressing, but I guess those are two different topics. The first thing, which is the Protestant thing, and then this JQ stuff that's going on. Both very irritating. It sort of bothers me, but we're going to move on. We're going to get into our news here tonight. Our featured story, it's all about something completely different. We're going to talk a little bit about this Don Lemon situation. And to be honest with you, this whole story to me just feels like boomer bait. When I went on Tim Pool, they're like, we're talking about Don Lemon. I'm like, Don Lemon? Honestly, who cares about Don Lemon? When I find myself talking about Don Lemon, I feel like I'm in a Florida retirement community. I feel like I'm in the Villages. I feel like I'm with some people whose brains have been damaged from so much sun exposure in Florida. They got a boat, and they're part of the Trump flotilla in like Tampa or Clearwater or something. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about Florida retiree boomer Trump supporters, brains melted by the sun. They're on their boat and they're like, fake news CNN, Don Lemon should be arrested. You're like, where am I? What am I doing? What am I talking about? But here we are. And our featured story is all about this big protest that occurred in Minneapolis. So as you know, Minneapolis has become a flashpoint for this conflict between ICE and left-wing protesters after the expose by Nick Shirley of Somalian welfare fraud in Minneapolis. Homeland Security has deployed all sorts of resources to the city to investigate. And get a load of this. This is amazing, guys. This is amazing. DHS has been in Minneapolis for 6 weeks. They have arrested 3,000 people. Okay? Homeland Security has this big visible presence in Minneapolis. Kristi Noem is there in the costume. ICE is there. DHS law enforcement is there. The National Guard is there. And they're making this big demonstration of force. It's sensational. And that's why Renee Good died, right? Nick Shirley does the video. there is this call to action that the Trump government must deploy federal law enforcement to get to the bottom of this, investigate the welfare fraud, investigate the Somalian community. They go there. There's a huge presence. They shut down the city. A protester gets shot in the face. Antifa is rioting outside and inside the hotels in the city, wearing their costumes, blowing their whistles. You know how many people got arrested in Minneapolis? 3,000 in 6 weeks. You know how many people that is per day? 70. 70 people per day for 6 weeks. All that for that. Renee Good got shot in the face. These hotels are being destroyed. There's another riot in Minneapolis. We're sending in thousands and thousands of ICE and National Guard. 72 arrests per day. Do you know that if you arrested 72 people per day for a year, you would arrest 25,000 people? You know, there's like 80,000 Somalians at the low end in the city of Minneapolis. So you wouldn't even arrest half of all those people in a year in one city if you did that every single day. All that for that. That's your mass deportations. That's your golden age. Law and order, like, okay, 72. What's the excuse? Honest to God, what is the excuse? And by the way, it will not go on for a year. This will be wrapped up soon. Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago, it lasted like a few months. How long do you think this operation in Minneapolis is going to last? It's not going to last more than a few months. How many people are they going to wind up arresting? 10,000, 5,000? If that, if you're lucky? What is the excuse from the administration? Honestly, and I see all these Trump supporters, they say, well, it's better than nothing. Well, it's better than the Democrats. Well, it's a start. No, it really isn't that much better. I don't even know if it is better at that point. Is it even worth the effort? What is it actually? Why is that worth even anything at all? Because you diminish the population by a few thousand, and you know how this stuff works. If they arrested 3,000, how many of them are actually going to even go to jail? How many of them are actually going to be prosecuted? How many people are actually going to be sentenced to jail time? Probably a fraction of those 3,000. So you're arresting 72 per day. Out of that, maybe half of them are even going to be prosecuted. Maybe half of those are going to see jail time. Seriously. What was it all for? All of it. All of this. People wearing MAGA hats, getting punched in the face. The vaccine, the COVID lockdown, the summer of love, January 6th, the charges. So you could go to one of the worst enclaves of third worlders on the planet. You got them dead to rights. Dead to rights. They stole $8 billion in 7 years. And public opinion polling shows people support law enforcement operations in the city. You're going to wind up prosecuting 500 people. That's what it was all for? Now, add insult to injury. So this fraud gets exposed. DHS comes to town. They barely arrest anybody. But what you've done inadvertently, because there are second-order effects, there are knock-on effects. Another word, there are unintended consequences. For every action, there is a reaction. You send DHS into the city. You arrest hardly anybody. But what you have done in the process is you have activated. That's the operative word. You have activated the left. What does that mean? You have incensed them. They're angry. They're emotional. They are compelled to demonstrate. They are getting organized. They are getting in the streets. They are rallying by the hundreds, by the thousands outside the federal government building in Minneapolis. And they are out there in the freezing cold on weekdays, on weekends. They're there breaking into the hotels. They're there setting up an autonomous zone where Renee Good was shot, marching down the streets in the day, at night. And what did they do at this church in Minneapolis? On Sunday, they stormed a church with Don Lemon, where apparently one of the members of the congregation is an ICE field director. They stormed the church, and this is a story from the New York Times about it. The DOJ came out and said that they would prosecute those people. This is a violation of the law. People have civil rights to be able to go to a religious service without being subjected to a disruption or a trespass or some kind of political demonstration. This is a violation of federal law. The DOJ said we're going to prosecute everybody. Well, they failed to get Don Lemon. They tried it. They failed. This is the New York Times. It says, quote, a federal magistrate judge in Minnesota rejected an attempt by the Justice Department to charge disgraced former CNN host Don Lemon over his participation in Sunday's invasion of a St. Paul church service by anti-ICE agitators. Lemon was part of a group of dozens of demonstrators who disrupted Sunday worship at City's church. A source familiar with the matter told the Post that Attorney General Pam Bondi was enraged by the judge's decision not to sign off on the charge against Lemon and added that she was heading to Minnesota herself. Oh, well, if she's going there herself, that's how you know she means business. Bondi announced earlier on Thursday that 2 local activists had been arrested over the disturbance, Nikema Levy Armstrong and Chantil Louisa Allen, a local BLM member and a member of the St. Paul Public Schools Board of Education. By the way, let me tell you something about these people. They are the fucking enemy. I know it's really trendy on our side of the internet to say that left and right is just a distraction. Let me tell you something. It isn't. It isn't. If you live in a red state, in a red city, you might have the luxury of thinking that. You might have the luxury of feeling that way. If you have never been harassed, if you have never been intimidated or preyed upon by the radical left, then you have the luxury of thinking that. But these people, a BLM chapter leader, a school board leader, a teachers union member, if you live in a blue state, you know what I'm talking about. You live in Minneapolis, you live in Chicago, you live in New York, you live in a blue state, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These activists, these pieces of shit, local Democrat activists, members of the Democrat machine in your blue city, you know these people are subhuman. These people are urchins. They are scum. And you know they hate you. They hate the taxpayer. They hate white people. They hate your children. They are deadbeats. And it is like their life's mission to extract resources from the taxpayer, the largesse, the amount of corruption, the amount of welfare, these public unions, teachers union, board of education, whatever. These kinds of people, they are degenerate. They are welfare queens. They exist to extract resources. They exist to go to demonstrations. They exist to elect community activists, community organizers to city positions and other local powerful positions, basically to enforce race communism. That is what they are in the business of. It is straight up race communism. They are militant, pro-black, pro-indigenous, POC. They hate white people. They hate Christians. They hate the suburbs. And they exist basically to destroy white neighborhoods, take money from white neighborhoods, corrupt white children, and ruin the city. It's a collection of the ugliest, stupidest, biggest mediocrities in the world. And you look at the kind of stuff that they get into in their community forums, their DSA chapters, their Facebook groups, whatever. It's straight up race communism. It's like workers of the world unite. It's red flag, literally red communist flags, black power fists, inclusivity flags, pro-tranny shit, pro-gay stuff, protect immigrants, protect illegals. I think people forgot. I think people got so caught up in virtue signaling about the Jew stuff. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there's no bigger, Jew critic than me, but people got so caught up in that they forgot maybe what we're dealing with. I never forgot. I wasn't allowed to forget. I came up with that because I live in the suburbs of Chicago, dealt with that my whole life, saw it happening my whole life, in the news my whole life, that they have ruined our city. They are killing our state because of this stuff, because you have these degenerate scumbags in the teachers union, these aldermen in the city of Chicago. They have stolen and looted, and they have ran the city into the ground. Now we have this black power mayor. They have ruined what was a working class white city. They have ruined what was a Republican state. And these are some of the worst people alive. These are some of the worst people walking the streets, and they hate you, and they are your enemy. If you have any kind of traditional politics, conservative politics, you're even just like a regular normie Trump supporter, they want to wreck your life. Okay? Just so you understand. So when I read this stuff, it's like ding, 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 a BLM activist. And who's the other one? A St. Paul Public School Board of Education member. Her name is Nikema Armstrong and Chantel Louisa. You know what flavor that is, okay? We know what that looks like. These people are trash. And I'm glad 2 of them got arrested. Anyway, the article goes on. They were the ringleaders storming the church. It says the 2 are charged with conspiracy against rights in an effort to intimidate someone in the free exercise of their rights secured by the Constitution. Lemon initially tried to get out of facing criminal conspiracy charges by claiming he was, quote, committing journalism while taking part in the disruption, said the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon. She said, whenever anyone conspires to violate the protected civil rights of American citizens, the Klan Act can be used to bring a conspiracy charge, referring to the 1871 law that bans interference with civic acts such as voting, serving on juries, or practicing religion. Videos posted by Lemon himself before, during, and after the church takeover showed he was very much part of the group, boasting of being read into activists' Operation Pull-Up and effectively serving as the demonstration spokesman inside the building. The church, which describes itself as part of the Baptist tradition, was targeted by Lemon and his compatriots because one of its 8 pastors, David Easterwood, reportedly works as acting field director for ICE in Minnesota. Lemon confronted the lead pastor in the church's sanctuary and asked him what he thought about the ruckus. He said it's unacceptable and it's shameful. Don Lemon then went on TV. This is who we're dealing with. Don Lemon goes on TV afterward and said, this is white supremacy. He said, if you think that a Christian church should be immune from this protest, he said, well, a protest is supposed to make you uncomfortable. And you're supposed to be upset. He said, and it's this white supremacist entitlement to think that you should be able to go and have a church service and not have to be subject to an anti-ICE protest. He said, why are they coming after me? Why are they trying to prosecute me? Don Lemon said it's because he's a gay black man in Trump's America. This is who we're dealing with, okay? Now, let me tell you something about Don Lemon and LaQuisha and these other people, the BLM leader, Renee Good. Let me tell you something about these people. There is no redeeming them, okay? We're not going to win a debate with a guy like Don Lemon. Don Lemon is a gay black guy who goes on TV and is crying about white supremacy and entitlement and Christian nationalism and ICE and all. Think about how out of line this is. Think about there's layers to this. You rewind the story back to the beginning. This country has allowed in Somalians, We are under no obligation to do this. What is our obligation to Somalia exactly? We didn't colonize Somalia. We didn't ruin Somalia. Why is that our problem? We're over there fighting ISIS. You're welcome. We're over there fighting ISIS, trying to establish some kind of government. Graciously, we let these people in our country. Why? Because we are stupid. We let these people in. This is a population of ISIS terrorists, pirates, warlords. Average IQ is 85. They don't even have a functioning country. They have no government, no infrastructure, nothing. We let them into the country. Really bad idea, but they're here. They come here and they start looting the system with their accomplices in the Democratic Party. You've got Minnesota has one of the highest human development indices out of any state in the United States. Great healthcare, great education, great governance. It's one of the best states, one of the most well-run states. What do these people do? They come here, and they start looting it to the tune of billions. The Democrats are helping them secure billions of dollars in stolen funds for daycares, for healthcare, for whatever. So we let them in graciously. They're stealing from us. This goes on for years. There's no accountability, no investigation. It's happening right under the nose of the Democratic government there. And they're probably in on it. The fraud gets exposed. Immigration comes to Minneapolis. DHS comes to Minneapolis to get to the bottom of it, which is their job. If there are illegal immigrants there, they should be deported. There's already 10 million illegals that came in 4 years. You maybe have 30 to 40 million illegals in the whole country. No legal standing to be here. There is a process. They knowingly violated it. So ICE and DHS come to town to investigate the fraud and deport the illegals. Protesters show up and they're throwing themselves in front of ICE, trying to hit them with their car, trying to block them with their car, trying to interfere in law enforcement duties. Protester gets shot. Now Don Lemon is leading the charge into a church where a law enforcement officer is a pastor, terrorizing families, children, while they are there to worship God, while they are there to worship Jesus Christ. You want to have a protest, do it at the federal government building lawfully during the day on the sidewalk. You want to disagree, make your voice heard online, in the papers, whatever. You go to somebody's church service on a Sunday and you shut down the whole thing. Now people can't go to church because you are protecting protesters, impeding law enforcement, looking into fraud and illegal immigration because these people who are welcomed in are stealing $8 billion from the taxpayer. Layers to this. And then when you get held accountable, you go on TV and said, this is about white supremacy. It's about white people and Christians being entitled. White supremacist Christians being entitled. You think left and right is a fake divide? You think that's a distraction? You think that all it's going to take for us to unite with Don Lemon is we're just going to talk about the Israel issue? If me and Don Lemon can see eye to eye on, I don't know, Netanyahu should stop the war, we could forget about all that. No, absolutely not. We can never unite with these people. And as far as I'm concerned, they should all be put in jail. Throw the book at them. I don't care. Throw the book at them. Whatever charge will stick, hit them with it and throw them in jail. They are our enemies. They are better off in jail than they are walking the streets. They are an impediment to law and order. You want to have a country, you need to deport the illegals. You need a border. You want to do that, you need to crush the protesters that think this is fascism. They think it's white supremacist Nazism to deport illegal immigrants. They're using their cars. They're harassing law enforcement, shooting fireworks at them, blocking them with their cars, running them over with their car, hitting them with shovels. Yeah, those people need to be put in jail forever. And as far as I'm concerned, the more of them you can arrest, the better. But this is the failure of the Trump administration. We're not arresting enough people in Minneapolis. We're not arresting the fraudsters. We're not deporting the illegals. The protesters that are impeding law enforcement, we're not arresting them. Out of all these demonstrators that broke into the church, two are being prosecuted, just two. I saw a lot more than 2 people break into the church. It's at least a dozen. Don Lemon, they're not prosecuting. So what is even the point of electing a Trump government is if this is the outcome? If we can't actually get what we voted for, if we can't actually punish our enemies. And by the way, there's no moral equivalency. These people are in the wrong. They're in the wrong. We've been fighting for 10 years to fight for our civil rights, our constitutional rights. We want free speech. We want to be able to talk on the internet. We want to be able to demonstrate. We want to be able to protest. We want to be able to get a permit, go out in public and do a protest. We want to rent a public space and put on an event. Go to a college campus and have an exchange of ideas, have an internet show, post on Twitter. That is what we're doing. These people want the right to crash their car into an ICE vehicle. They want the right to crash a church service. They want the right to break into a hotel and barge down, break down the door of every ICE agent that's staying inside. That's not lawful. There's no moral equivalency. We want to enforce the laws. We want to use the sovereign authority of the Constitution to prevent more immigrants from coming here. They want to protect illegal immigrants that have no legal standing to be here. No moral equivalency between the two positions. And you see this Trump government, they're going through all the motions. This is what's really frustrating. Talking about it, threatening it. Everybody's getting on TV. Well, I'm coming to Minneapolis. Well, wait till I get there. This Bovino guy is in these videos in costumes. Kristi Noem is out there in a costume. Pam Bondi's out there in a costume. Kash Patel is out there in a costume. They're on TV. They're on Fox News. They're on Benny Johnson. We're going to do something. We're going to shut it down. Send in the National Guard. And they don't even arrest anybody. Meanwhile, the left is activated. Meanwhile, the left is emboldened and activated. Undeterred. They are out there blowing their whistles, banging their drums in their stupid costumes, shooting fireworks, taking over government buildings, throwing stuff at law enforcement, raiding churches. Is this what we're going to tolerate? And by the way, we'll get more of it. If you don't prosecute these people, we'll get more of it. And think about what this says in the current climate in the country. You had a Mormon church that was shot up in Michigan a couple months ago. Everyone forgot about that. You had a Catholic church in Minneapolis that was shot up by a transgender last year. Now people can't go to church without being harassed by an anti-ICE demonstration, without Don Lemon screaming at white people. And this is when you realize that there is nowhere that you can run away to. Okay? They will chase you to the ends of the earth. People still are doing the white flight thing. They're going to move to another state, move to another city. And I get it. If you got a young family, you think if I go and move to a rural area or a whiter area, I could raise my kids for 15 years before they're grown up. And then we're a little bit safer. And I get that. But this is why you have to be engaged in politics. Because there are more of them than there are of us. More immigrants, more non-whites and their descendants, more of these people that hate us, screaming white supremacists, calling us Christian fascists, calling us Nazis, whatever, and they will attack our churches. They will attack us in our schools. They will attack us in law enforcement and Republican Party operations and so on. The only solution is we have to defeat them. That's it. At the national level, they have to be utterly defeated. And you thought that that's what you were getting with Trump, but as I told you last year, or in 2024, Trump is just not enough. He's not the answer. He's not competent. He's not willing to follow through. He's not hardcore enough. These people are all talk and no action, and all they're doing is making it worse. All they're doing is accelerating it. All they're doing is making the left more militant, more violent, more desperate, daring the left to get more bold. I don't know how good that is for our side anymore. If Don Lemon gets away with this, what is the message to the left? The message is there are no consequences. Break into a church defiantly. I mean, they got him dead to rights. He's on camera speaking out in favor of it. And he's going to walk away. The judge won't sign off on it. It's over. They got 2 people. The rest of them are fine. Those 2 people will be martyrs now. If everybody went to jail, that'd be one thing. Now these 2 people are going to be martyrs. It needs to be a broken window policy. Everybody that was there needs to face federal charges. Everybody that was there needs to see a jail cell. There can be no other way. Yes, make an example out of them. Throw the book at them. And then when there's copycats, throw the book even harder at them. But they're just not serious, and they chicken out on everything. And I worry because we're here for 3 more years with this. 3 more years. And all I see is more escalation. So it is not good, man. It's very disappointing, and it's so hard to watch because you see it so clearly and you know exactly what's coming next. You know exactly where this is headed, and you're just powerless to stop it. Trump is in the driver's seat. He fucking sucks. And he's just going to keep pushing them, and we are on the front lines. We are the ones that are going to get hurt. And by we, I mean me, I mean all of you. We are the ones that are going to get hurt by this. Not him. He'll be fine. His people will be fine. They're protected. It's all of us that are going to be screwed. He's 80 years old. He's not even going to be here in 10 years. We are going to be holding the bag when he's done with his little vanity career in politics. So it is very demoralizing to watch. You would think that the Trump administration would be crushing these people the way that all of these glazers talk about it. I see on Twitter and everybody, the way they talk about it, it's patriot this, patriot that. Know who you are, American, blah, blah, blah. Dude, fuck you. All these Trump dick riders, fuck you. Seriously. I hold you personally accountable. And it's funny, I was debating with this guy on Tim Pool, and he was nice enough. I'm sure he was being polite and cordial. I know he definitely is not my biggest fan. But I got in a debate with this guy on Timcast, this guy Tate Brown. And he's one of these, I know who he is. I know he's one of these plan trusters, heritage Americans. I know he's of that ilk. Again, he was a nice guy. He was very friendly and all that. I know he's not my biggest fan. We vehemently disagree. But here's the case in point. Me and this guy go back and forth for about an hour on this in the paywalled part of the show. And he's a Doyle acolyte. He's in that whole crew of, I'm going to be polite because he was nice to me. He's in that whole crew in D.C. He's tight with Patrick Casey. He's been to those parties. My friends have seen him there. I have eyes everywhere. I know everyone. Okay, he's in that whole clique of plan trusting Trump supporters, white pillars, golden age. You know, they're at the white pill party with Scott Greer and everything. And I'm debating with this guy for an hour. He's saying, but don't you realize that if it wasn't for Trump, we would never be having these conversations. If it wasn't for Trump, we would never be able to talk like this. If it wasn't for Trump, we wouldn't have these meta-political victories and blah, blah, blah. And all these people have been saying since 2024, trust the plan. It's 5-dimensional chess. Stephen Miller, if you can hear us, save us. Oh, it's a golden age. If you fuck around with us, we're going to do things to you. It's the vengeance tour. All this stuff. And I told you on Monday, Don Lemon is not going to face any repercussions. 0% chance. It ain't going to happen. Well, here we are on Thursday. They can't even arrest Don Lemon. They can't arrest anybody. They can't arrest Obama. They can't arrest Fauci. They can't arrest the Clintons. They can't arrest, who is the one, Letitia, was it Jackson or James? I don't even know. Some black name. They can't arrest Don Lemon. They can't arrest the people in the church. They're making 72 arrests per day in Minneapolis. Where is your king? Where is your leader now? Where's your guy? Where's the golden age? People say, oh, well, you know, we're having a different conversation. People watch a speech at Davos and they say, the best to ever do it. The rhetoric is crazy. Bro, it's a speech. We've been doing this for 10 years. Where's the enforcement? You're the president of the United States. Are you going to throw our enemies in jail or what? They did it to your people. They arrested every J6er. The Biden White House leaned on all social media and got everybody banned. They implemented a vax mandate. They made it so that you would get fired from your job if you weren't vaccinated. I mean, think of the pressure that the Biden administration exerted on the right wing. Between the castigation of MAGA Republicans, the DOJ investigation into the Capitol, how they leaned, how 13 different departments and agencies leaned on social media to get people banned from every social platform. And the Trump administration, what can they do? Nothing. I told you it would be like this. I told you this is how it would be. Do you remember last year everybody thought, oh, it's going to be different this time? Do you remember the high hopes of the transition? I remember after the election, people were exuberant, jubilant. People were so excited during the transition, after the election, before the inauguration. People said, oh my God, it's a golden age. RFK Jr. and Elon and Vivek and Tulsi Gabbard and JD Vance are dancing to Staying Alive. Remember the jib jab edits? They're all dancing to Staying Alive. We face swapped and they're all dancing. They're dancing into 2025 as we enter our golden age. Dude, you. Now, we have an armada sailing to Iran to topple their government. Trump announced that we're not doing mass deportations anymore. The New York Times said we only actually deported 250,000 people last year. 72 arrests per day in Minneapolis after we discovered $8 billion in fraud. And none of these political arrests are happening. That's your golden age. So, we need someone who is serious. Republicans are not serious. They are a joke. Look what happened in Indiana. They declined to gerrymander the state. Yeah, just give those seats to Democrats. Just give them right up. Why bother? We need a radical right-wing candidate. We need an actual radical, not a tech puppet like JD Vance. We need an actual radical right-wing candidate who is willing to go all the way. Someone who is not going to cuck, someone who is not going to drop the ball, somebody young. We need somebody in 2028 that is actually going to take us to the promised land and lead us. Otherwise, we're going to get killed by these people. I'm so sick of hearing about, right and left is just a fake. That's not a real thing. It is so real. These people are real. They have captured the Democratic Party, and they're coming for you. How about Zohran Mamdani saying he wants to tax white neighborhoods? The guy's a race communist. He's calling Trump a fascist. This is what we're talking about here. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're out of time here, so we're going to take a look at our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say about it, but I have to tell you, man, I'm losing faith in this whole Trump thing. It's a total disaster. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what you guys have to say about all this. I'm also really tired all of a sudden. I don't know why. I didn't have my Red Bull. I had a Monster tonight. Need coffee. Need me a cup of Joe. I'm literally just like, I don't know what it is. I'm a little fatigued. I thought I was having a bad hair day today. From this angle, looks good, though. From this angle, not so much. My hair's so colicky, I can never get it to do what I want it to do. It's too, thick and frizzy. All right. Look at that. Look at the way the light hits it. See, that's how lean I am. That's what a law-abiding citizen I am. Lean is the law, and call me Gerard Butler because I'm a law-abiding citizen. Ever see that movie? Lean is the law, and I abide by the law. We're mogging. All right, let's take a look at the super chats. Let's see what we got here tonight.
Let's get right to it. I don't have a lot to discuss on this one. And it's funny, when Nick was starting off the show, I was laughing because, he's like, yeah, we got an amazing show for y'all. And then it's like, yeah, there's no news. Because I was sitting here thinking, as I saw the headline with Don Lemon, I'm like, bro, of all the things that we got to talk about, we got to talk about Don Lemon. Even on the live show that we did this morning, I had that as one of the clips that we were going to review, but we never even got to it. And I'm glad that we didn't. I do want to discuss a few of the things that he's talking about around Don Lemon, and I may bounce around all over the place a little bit. But one of the things that I want to discuss is him saying, and having that energy, I should say, as far as like, it's not right versus left. And getting caught up in a lot of conservatives he was mentioning, saying that, hey, it's not right versus left. We got to see beyond that. And every time you get a more extreme situation, or a guy like Don Lemon on one side, or perhaps somebody on the other side, it just gives the other people that are kind of more moderate or more free thinking, it just kind of sets them back in their ways. They're like, look at what these crazy fools are doing. Like, they just stood on boys playing sports against girls again. Like, I can't rock with that. I'm over here. And that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it. Now, when I first saw the church incident, I had to admit that I had a bunch of bias with it. I don't like the church. I don't like the church. I separate the church from Christianity, from Christ, I compartmentalize a lot of these things. I don't like the church. That's more of my own personal experience. It's more perhaps from a selfish standpoint, as far as how the Black church, I just have ill feelings towards the church. So I want to be honest, open and honest when it comes to that. And that impacted how I looked at the situation then. And I'm sure it impacts me even a week after or a few days after, how I'm looking at it now. But before we get into that, and what I actually wanted to know is maybe what y'all wanted to know as well. But what's going on with I'm more interested in the club cost. And since he mentioned the club cost, I thought that he was actually going to bring up the fact that Andrew Tate did an interview. I don't even know who the guy that he did the interview with, but Sneako was reviewing it. And Andrew Tate said something interesting. And he's been trying to get himself out of this hole, or perhaps save himself. He's now, I believe, has an open case in UK for like saying certain things or inciting. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's hate speech. So now, I believe it's hate speech. So now, obviously, with this recent situation with the club, that's not going to look pretty favorably, with them, Tristan dancing to the song and Andrew Tate smiling, doing whatever he is. And now he's trying to save his image, perhaps because of that case, whatever, neither here nor there. But he mentioned something in the interview where he said, like, yeah, I'm cool with Nick. And, even Nick defended me, and he's the biggest anti-Semite in the world. And immediately I'm like, hold up, Nick not going to like that. Nick's not going to like that, because I remember when Nick was trying to piece it up with Tucker, right? Remember when we were rooting for Nick and Tucker to just, not be beefing and stuff, but to see eye to eye, come together, maybe unite different audiences for the greater good of the people. And one of the things that I remember, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember it pretty vividly, that Tucker made the comment that Nick Fuentes, like, yeah, he's an anti-Semite, or he referenced him as an anti-Semite in some way or another. And Nick got very upset with that. He thought that was Tucker's slick way of throwing him under the bus and trying to appeal to Israel, Jewish, Zionism, however, we want to shape it. He didn't give Tucker the same excuse and the same grace that he gave Tate. It wasn't the same type of energy extended where it's like, well, I know Tucker's under extreme backlash. I know Tucker's up against a whole lot. And, you know, Tate, the same thing that he said about Tate, he's up against a whole lot. Tate also threw Sneako, one of your best friends, under the bus, which you came out respectfully. We saluted you yesterday, just based on the fact that you put the blame on everybody, saying that everybody needs to accept responsibility and accountability, and we appreciate that. But I don't see Tucker throwing it, like Tucker in that situation didn't throw anybody else under the bus besides Nick feeling like he was the one thrown under the bus. So I'm interested to see how this whole thing plays out. Looking at it from afar, seems like Sneako was getting the short end of the stick. It seems like there's a lot of powers that be that are enforcing their power and flexing their power in different ways, because all you have to do is look at some of these interviews that Andrew Tate did afterwards. He could try to keep the persona up as much as he wants. He can talk about how he's an A-list celebrity. He can talk about how he makes millions upon millions of dollars. But ultimately, like a lot of us, he's enslaved to something that he does not want to happen. Like when there's something on the table that we're no longer willing to stand on something if this happens, like I'm no longer willing to go to jail. Let's say that I'm a freedom fighter, I'm an activist, but I'm not willing to go to jail. Obviously, that's going to impact the ways that I go about freedom fighting or being an activist. I'm not going to put myself in a position to where this may land me in jail, so I'm not going to do certain things. So I become almost a slave to it or dependent upon it in a particular way. My actions are dependent upon it. This is the same thing that we see with Tate. He's not willing, and it would be one thing if he just said, you know what, I'm tapping out, guys. You know, I feel like I've fought this fight long enough. Y'all take it wherever y'all take it. But it's a difference between trying to throw your man under the bus or throw anybody under the bus so you can get out of trouble. Tristan acting like he wasn't going like this, bobbing to the song in the car, as well as I believe in the club, but then you just get out and you try to lie and throw your man under the bus. Like that is the definition of snitching. You did something with your man, and now to save yourself, you're going to throw your man under the bus. There's nothing honorable about that. So for all the Andrew Tate fans, or Andrew Tate himself, if he ever sees this, there's nothing honorable about that. You might as well run around here like 6ix9ine and just acknowledge. Just acknowledge it. Just stand on it, if anything. And that's kind of what you're doing, but he's just playing all these different games. But let me not go off on a tangent, because obviously this isn't about Andrew Tate, but I'm showing what I would have been a little bit more interested in talking about. But maybe that's more drama. I don't look at it as drama, but I just look at it as, you know, this is something that's super relevant. There's a reason why all of them went viral with this Miami Beach mayor coming out saying something, the ADL, all these different things. A lot of times the young people, those are the influencers, and the people in power understand that. So as much as, you know, we could say, well, Don Lemon, that's more of a serious story, if that is, okay, it has little impact compared to the impact that a guy like Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, and what happened this past weekend in Miami will have in the country, I believe. So that's just throwing that out there. So let's kind of get into the conversation that he was having. And I like that Nick is willing to call out certain people within the faith. When he's talking about his fallout from he referenced it as the Clubbercost. He says, I don't come into your rock star evangelical church telling you how to run stuff. If you don't like it, don't watch it. We're live streamers. I appreciated that aspect. You don't want me calling out your rock star evangelical money-making church that, in my opinion, when I look at these churches, I told y'all I'm biased. It's just businesses. You're just selling false prophecy in a lot of ways, in my opinion. I'm not saying all of the churches, but I think a lot of people are. I don't think these people would even be doing this job if they weren't getting paid for it, if they weren't approaching it as if, hey, this is a good job, you know, that I can get in, I can make a career, I can do that. To me, it's not about actually developing a spiritual relationship with the people. I think it's just about selling hope, selling faith, and making a lot of money off of it. So I'm glad that he's willing to call those things out. He said that these pastors, in a lot of ways, they're doing the very same thing that they're getting accused of, or that Nick's getting accused of. You're clip farming. You're just doing this to get more views. You know that if you speak about Nick, if you speak about the situation, if you have an opinion on it, it just gives you the opportunity to reach an audience that you otherwise wouldn't reach. How do I know? Well, I know how I'm able to reach an audience by playing Nick's videos, if we're just being real. A lot of y'all I wouldn't be able to talk to, would never come into contact with. I'm appreciative of that. But I'm not going to ever act like that's not part of it. Yes, that's absolutely. So them trying to accuse Nick of doing that, it's kind of like, bro, Nick is the one with the motion. Like, we're not accusing, like, I wouldn't accuse Nick of saying something about me and saying that, oh, he's clip farming. I don't even know how. It's irrelevant, but I think y'all understand the point that I'm making. I'm just glad that he's calling a lot of these pastors out and willing to call these pastors out. But let's get into this whole conversation about the church. We'll talk about, certain things that he mentioned with Donald Trump. I don't really have strong feelings on a lot of these things that we'll discuss today. So I don't want to have a letdown of a show, but just being totally transparent with y'all. I'm not going to, use fake rhetoric or fake energy. Want to be real with y'all. So Don Lemon and the gang, they stormed the church. So initially, as I said before, when I saw this, my bias came into play. Me not being a fan of the church, I was upset I thought that it was a valid complaint as far as saying, like, here you got a pastor of a church and he's a field director in ICE. I just see, for me, it goes so much deeper than just them storming the church, because I get so pissed off about how people will conveniently use a lot of these religious positions that they self-appoint themselves to in a lot of ways. And they use the church being a pastor to spread certain things when it's convenient for them, while they're also doing other things that I don't think that are even aligned with being a Christian. That's just my opinion. I don't think that a pastor should be a field director in ICE. Now, a lot of people can say, well, you're allowed to have whatever job that you want. Matter of fact, maybe more pastors should have jobs, because if they did have jobs, then they wouldn't be so dependent on making money off of just preaching the word. I understand that. But me still looking at it, I'm not going to say and me still looking at it, I still acknowledge my bias with it. I would have loved for, if you go into that church, do it in a more respectful way. Do it in a way that's more, and even if, I don't even know if you're ever going to be having it called respectful, but do it in a way where, in my opinion, it's more purposeful. It's more intentional. It's actually going to stimulate a conversation, a call out of sorts, where I think that this pastor should be called out. Now, if the people in the congregation, they don't care about that, they don't align with that, then okay, then you just keep it moving out the door. But this almost creates more of a problem and just fuels what Nick was talking about when he said, look, you can't ever argue or win a conversation or feel that you can win these people over just based on providing reason, when it's somebody like a Don Lemon or people from Black Lives Matter, perhaps the LGBTQ community, a lot of these woke organizations. And let me start off by saying, I don't know if there's somebody that dislikes BLM more than me. I don't know if there's somebody that dislikes BLM more than me. I can't stand Black Lives Matter. I think that they're terrible, take advantage. They exploit the very community that they claim that they're supposed to be serving. They've completely allowed the movement to get hijacked by the LGBTQ community with a focus on the T's. All you got to do is look at Candace Owens' documentary and how she exposed where a lot of the money is going. And if somebody can give me other information, then feel free to. But they're a BS organization. They're a BS organization. And just from a policy standpoint, I don't rock with them. They're the ones that,
here you're supposed to be representing black people and mainly black men who are being killed. And that's what you're raising all your funds off of. And a lot of times you don't even give the family back a substantial amount, but that's cool. That's what you're raising all your money off of. And when I say that's cool, you do what you do. The family, I hope that they expose y'all. But if they don't, then that's what they choose to do. The reason why I'm saying that they're making a lot of their money off of young black men, what destroys young black men more than anything else? Not having a black father in the household, not having that nuclear family. But see, when Black Lives Matter came out, they put out their mission statement that they conveniently took off their page when they realized that it was impacting their donations. But they said that their purpose was to destroy the nuclear family and the traditional patriarchal structure. That's actually what black people need the most. But that is, once again, another example of black people hustling backwards, continuing to just go with whoever who said something nice about us? Okay, we'll go there. And meanwhile, it's the Democratic Party, like I've said over and over, that has put these policies together that have destroyed the black community more than anything that the Republicans could even hope to do if that was their intentions. Lyndon B. Johnson social programs. Let's destroy the black family. Let's incentivize black women to be single and provide them aid, so that way we can step in as their daddy, as their new baby daddy, right? As their new kid's daddy. They'll play that role. Then you have what? The crime bill. You got good old Bill Clinton. He used to be called the first black president, right? Playing his saxophone in Harlem, just a slick talking, yeah. Like he just comes across like a slick talking, like used car salesman, all of the above. That's all he is. That's all. It's same thing with Barack Obama, the same play. They're very similar if you look at it in a lot of ways, in my opinion, or at least how they went about finessing the black population, right? So Bill Clinton and Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, they jump in there and they establish this crime bill that removes more black men out of the household than what policy that the conservatives put out. What destroyed the black family. So once again, bringing it all home, this is why I do not rock with Black Lives Matter. One of the many reasons why I don't rock with Black Lives Matter. They're phony. They incite all this violence. These are the ones that started off with this whole dumbass defund the police thing that people were doing. Like, just think about it from that standpoint. And this is why Nick says, like, yo, you just can't get through to these people. Anybody saying defund the police, does that sound like a logical argument? Like, who would even want that? Black communities, they act as if black people, and this is the thing, when you are, as a black person, are celebrating defund the police, who do you think the police is there to help? Oh, you're one of those people that just believe that the police are there just to arrest people that are just doing things wrong. Well, do you think the entire black community is selling drugs or committing crimes? No. The majority of people, it consists of, could be your grandmother, could be your little sister, could be your auntie, could be your uncle. They want the police there. The police there are there to protect them. So now when y'all defund the police, which neighborhoods are going to suffer the most? So once again, it's just a hustling backwards mindset, which is, once again, why I can understand why Nick says, like, there's no logic when it comes to figuring out a way to work with a lot of these people. And perhaps the biggest examples of that are defund the police, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ. People can't even be honest enough and direct enough, courageous enough. Now, isn't that crazy? You got to be courageous enough to just say what a woman is. Just to give the definition of what a woman is, it takes courage in the Democratic Party. That's how far things have gone. So just stick it. And I say all that to say, we still have to resist the urge to align ourselves and to see this political space as left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. I understand that there's a whole bunch of radicals that have a loud voice and are super influential on both sides. However, that's the play. If they know that all they have to do in order to get people to double down, if their goal is to get people to double down and align with Dems or Republicans, all they have to do is just do something, have somebody on the left do something radical. People will align with the right. Have somebody on the right do something radical. People will align with the left. It's all going to be plays. So if we stop looking at it from a standpoint of like, yo, they just work together. This is just WWE. This is just two boxers before the fight talking all crazy about they hate each other to amp up the fight. But then right after the fight, they cool. This is all this is. This is all this is. So therefore, we have to, and it's just my suggestion, just my opinion, we have to resist that urge, because now we're moving into a place where that urge is just going to grow. Things are just going to be getting more and more extreme. More and more extreme. You could look at Nick's situation just with him and the people that went to the club. What happened this week? You got Myron, after he did the Nazi salute. Now what's he doing? He's dressing up like a stereotypical, I guess, Jew or a caricature of a Jewish person. Then he had the hood on, the Ku Klux Klan hood. Things I'm not here to critique or to say mean things or bad things about I'm not here to do that right now. All right. But what I am saying is that things are getting more and more extreme. And the more and more we follow extreme behavior, the easier it is for us to be controlled. And the easiest way for us to be controlled is how we've been controlled for the last, 100 years? Maybe, I don't know, around that. Voting Democrat and Republican. That's how they control us. They convince us that these are two different groups, that we have options, right? And to convince us that we have options, they'll have things, it almost benefits them to say, hey, there's a wide range, a wide spectrum. Yeah, you're giving us a wide spectrum, but there's only two options. There's only two options. So therefore, we either go with this extreme or that extreme. Clearly, that's not benefiting us. So getting back to Don Lemon. So Don Lemon seemed to escape this. I did see the lady that was in the church, she got arrested. I'm not sure if she was from the Black Lives Matter group or where she was from. I didn't recognize her. But yeah, anybody can look at that situation. And even after we were reviewing it on the show, they could have went about that in a much better way. If you were looking for anything other than to just have a viral moment, and even with them getting arrested, there's a whole lot of people, they probably want to get arrested. You know, it's like some people look forward to that stuff. It's like a notch on their belt. Yeah, I got arrested. They just want to be in the headlines. They know that they're going to get bailed out. They know that they're probably not going to serve any hard time or anything like that. And in this situation, didn't Nick say, I'm not sure if he was specifically talking about Don Lemon, or if he was talking about the others as well, but he was mentioning one of the judges decided like, yeah, we're not going to bring any charges on them. Unless I misheard that. If I misheard that, then please correct me. I'll check the notes and I'll check your comments and make sure that I'm clear on that. But it's just a goofy situation. Y'all know damn well y'all wouldn't. And I actually was looking at that situation like, y'all lucky that wasn't a black church. Y'all are lucky that wasn't a black church. And I don't think that y'all would have done that with a black church. I don't know if y'all would have done that with a black church, because it would have ended in a different way. Because black people, when it comes to standing on business for Jesus, you're not running up in a black church like that. And I'm happy, because that would have been a terrible representation of it's like, it's already bad enough, right? But if that was at a black church, could you imagine? Like, close your eyes and picture that. You running up in a black church like that. It wouldn't have went that way. It wouldn't have went that way. So I'm glad that it wasn't in a lot of ways. But, you know, it seems like in this situation, everybody may have got what they wanted. Everybody may have got what they wanted. I don't know if the church even cares that one of their pastors is a field director. I guess they'll just still allow it. You know, Don Lemon, he got his name in the news without getting arrested. I'm sure that that's what he wanted. And a lot of these other protesters, they got to, you know, have a picture of them in some handcuffs. So now they can act like they're freedom fighters, like some of their heroes, like Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks or whoever else. It's all just WWE to me. So excuse my energy if my energy's not here today. I'm just looking at this stuff like, this is goofy. This is goofy. So let me kind of shift gears to a little bit. I wanted to talk about Mamdani as well. And at first, when Nick was finishing off the show saying like, yeah, Mamdani, he's just going to tax white neighborhoods. I'm like, bro, ain't no way Mamdani said that. Nick is exaggerating. He's gassing it up. He's just doing the same thing with the rhetoric that everybody else is doing in order to establish some clickbait, right? That's what went through my head for a split second before I looked it up. Because I'm like, yo, who in their right mind would just say that, yeah, we're just going to tax and use the word whiter neighborhoods or anything like that? So then I look it up, and he actually did say that, yo. He used the term, and I had to ask ChatGPT, like, did he say whiter? And they said, yes, Zohran Mamdani's campaign did use the word whiter in describing part of his tax proposal. According to multiple news reports, his policy documents and statements, including language about raising property taxes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Why did you have to say white? What does that have to do with anything? You already said richer. That's taxes, money-wise, right? It's like, why are you even saying the whiter part? What does that? Everybody has an agenda. They are trying to divide us. They are trying to separate us. It only gives them more power while taking our power away. And if we feed into it, we're done. The only option that we have, the only chance we have in this to figure this thing out, because I don't know about y'all, but when I wake up and I'm looking at the news or looking for different stories to respond to, a lot of times this is depressing. The devil is winning right now. It would be hard for anybody to convince me. I mean, I'm always open to being wrong, but the devil is winning right now. Look at the world that we're living in. And we're only having the people that are in power feed more into it to keep us even more lost. It's like you got the mayor of New York City, the biggest and perhaps most impactful city in the world. And this man thinks it's okay to say, when he's giving out information on his tax proposals, that, yeah, we're going to tax the richer and whiter neighborhoods. And he got exactly what he wanted, a response. And in the news, him to feel like he's saving the impoverished minorities from white supremacists. That's all this is about. I become more frustrated with us. And that's why I'm like, nah, Nick, you can't fall into that. We can't afford that. I'm talking about anybody that sees this thing from a logical standpoint that ultimately has the goal for us to figure out a way to live together in harmony. We can't allow a person like Zohran Mamdani saying whiter neighborhoods to, oh man, look. And what's the popular thing going on right now? We don't think Mamdani is aware that a lot of prominent, influential people on the conservative side are talking about what? What is Tucker talking about? What is Nick Fuentes talking about? What are a lot of Republicans talking about? The fact that white people their numbers are going down. They're going to be the minority. They're losing their country. They're losing their culture, all these different things. That is a huge topic right now. So then for Zohran Mamdani to come out, and you've already had a polarizing, you being mayor is already polarizing. You understand that. You understand that. However, your job is to still serve the people of your city. Do you think that it makes sense in serving the people of your city, not just the poor people, but everybody, to say that you're going to tax richer and whiter neighborhoods and cause more of a division between right, left, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, whatever it is that you want to call it, poor versus elite, wealthy, however you want to call it? Does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense, because he has a different goal. His goal is to incite this reaction. His goal is to say that, oh, yeah, Nick Fuentes, yeah, we won. Nick said that he'll never see things. He'll never want to work with anybody on the other side. Mamdani wins. The most radical people win when the people in the middle choose their side. The most radical people win when the people, forget whether you're in the middle or wherever, when you're just willing, because you could be all the way on the right or all the way on the left, but if you're willing to work with somebody who doesn't see things the same way that you see it, who does not align with the political gang that you're affiliated with, that's what they fear the most, the powers that be. So as soon as we sit back and say, you know what, this really is left versus right, I can't work with these people. As soon as you write off that entire group of people, we become a slave now to our new group. And we're no longer able to free think. We're longer able to use our leverage, because what do we end up becoming? We become the black people that over and over just continue to vote for Democrats, expecting a different result, repeating the definition of insanity, thinking that this is the party, no matter what they actually do for them when they get in office, but the other side is just too bad. So therefore, we always going to lock in here, and you end up having no leverage. And then we sit back and wonder why nobody does anything for us. Oh, you thought that they were just good people, so therefore that they should just do the right thing. No, these are politicians. These are people that have made a living off of making promises to certain people, fulfilling certain things, and pretty much just going wherever the money brings them. Who's surprised? All right, so I think, he mentioned certain things regarding Trump. Obviously, Trump is not in, when it comes to Nick, he's not looking at him in a favorable way right now. Donald Trump, definitely one of the most disappointing presidents in recent history. Maybe that's just disappointing because my dumb ass voted for him after not voting for 2 elections. I decided to come back. I was leaning RFK Jr. and then I got caught up in it. But I got to take that. But this has been extremely disappointing. Trump is not, nobody knows what to believe from Trump. And the fact that he knows that all he has to do is use radical rhetoric in order to get people on his side, because everybody's so damn fickle and doesn't remember anything that happened yesterday. If they get promised something today, it's just putting us in a bad place. It's putting us in a very bad place. So I don't really have much to say on Trump that Nick didn't say on Trump. I'm not just going to repeat everything that he said, but this is just disappointing. But the good thing about it is, and I want to make sure that I don't finish off on such a low note with my energy already being so low. But the good thing about it is, man, we're in a time right now where it's crunch time. When I said the devil's winning, man, this is when you get to really show who you are. Who wants to get into the game? I don't want to be in the game when we're blowing out the other team. I don't want to get in the game when it's just the first quarter. I want to be in the game when it's decision-making time, when the game's going to be decided, when we can change the trajectory of this thing. So we understand, and that's most important, understand exactly where we are, understand exactly what we're up against. But then we're living during a time where we should celebrate, and it should be empowering to say, you know what? I'm gonna be one of those ones that plays my role and impacts this world in a positive place and gets it back to, or gets it to, more of a godly nature for us to live in harmony, hopefully strive to achieve that greater peace. But just from a simple standpoint of living by the golden rule of just treating others the way we want to be treated. Is it that hard to just expect people to behave with a certain level of decency? Like for just decent to be the standard, is it really that hard? So that's the energy that I'm on. Once again, I apologize. Maybe it's the end of the week. Maybe this stuff just gets to you, but it's the same old, same old. I just don't want us to get caught up in going with the radical and feeding into that, rather than just stepping away and doing what Nick typically says, which is choose your own side. So choosing our own side is not choosing the Republicans. It's not choosing the Democrats. It's choosing decency among common sense Americans. At least to me it is. Y'all tell me what it is to y'all. So I'll let y'all go. Of course, y'all leave me any feedback, like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Y'all know what we always say, control the algorithm. Don't let the algorithm control us. Shout out to my big bro, Robert. And we'll keep the videos pumping. We'll have this one out hopefully Friday evening, Friday afternoon, and then we'll have Nick's Friday show for y'all to review tomorrow. And take a couple seconds to breathe. We always do breath work and a box breathing technique at the end of our live shows. Maybe we need to incorporate that on some of these as well. So you guys let me know in the comments if that's something that y'all want me to take y'all through. We do a little box breathing technique just to kind of take a step back, make sure we're keeping the main thing and keeping the proper perspective. So let me know what I'm off on. I told y'all already, my bias is coming to play regarding this church incident. But yeah, they should have carried it out in a better way, in a more productive way. But I actually think that they actually got done perhaps what they wanted to get done, not going back, going forward. My apologies for bringing that back up. I'll see you on the next video. Ew.
TB, GI, TC. It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see a nigga on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there. Let's figure out a split that's honorable and fair. Tell me where you trying to take it. Bro, I'll meet you there. 1600 Penn, Wash, DC. Swear I saw the vision riding through the DMV. I envision prayers, but I could do VP. Hillbilly, Elegy, fuck, I look like JD. Shout out my cheat code, Dave and Karen raised me. And my big bro, a nuclear family.
And they don't like that. Strong fathers in the crib, BLM fought that. LBJ society created all that. Victimhood mentality, I can't embrace that. And everything they taught in school, assume it's all cap. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Ain't no introduction, just some fun facts. In case you were wondering, I am that.
I know you heard me hit it 3 times for Dr. Umar. Shout out to Umar, man. We ain't kicking nobody when they down. And shout out to everybody that continues to show love, support, appreciating the message that I'm giving y'all along with the bro Nick's message. We gonna keep pushing, man. And shout out to the haters too, cause y'all in the comments heavy too. y'all the ones that gave me the inspiration to create this song. They kept saying like, who's the random black guy in the corner? I am.